Are we live, Darlene? Yep, okay, we're live. Thursday, November the 17th, County of Bruce Highways Committee to order. And the first thing on the agenda, of course, is everyone needs to declare any pecuniary interest that you may have on today's agenda. You can do so if the matter arises. And then the second item is the action items, Brian. And 2A is Huron County Boundary Road Agreement attached. Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I'm pleased to say we've got an improved document for committee's review, and it's only 2 pages, and I ask for you to bear with me, and I'll briefly go through it. This, the expectation was to have an arrangement extended with Huron County that was identical to what we had had for a number of years. The document that is before us on the overhead, possibly the projector, is a continuation of the past agreement. It generally contains language that identifies the parts of County Road 86, which we have jurisdiction over, and County Road 3. So I should probably go back to the agenda package and full screen. And naturally, the responsibility with Huron County is such that Bruce County is responsible for that section of 86 west of Lucknow to Highway 21. Huron County responsible for that section of County Road 86 from Huron County east to what is the boundary, not Wingham, but the boundary. And there's a short section on Old Highway 4, now County Road 4 in Huron and Bruce, that Huron County is responsible for. So the agreement, which was an extension of the past agreement, recognizes those jurisdictions. It recognizes that Bruce County does a bit more than does Huron County. Consequently, Huron County provides Bruce County with a check based on average per kilometer operational costs. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, the nature of the arrangement is that we each undertake 100% of the operation requirements on the road section in the jurisdictions reflected on the plan, and any construction in the excess of $10,000 or $20,000 is acknowledged to the other party and shared. It is our hope that we will have a more long-term arrangement with Huron County. We both have hesitated a little bit. Huron County in the past has been quite interested in heavy construction on County Road 86. And it was going to attract a lot of Bruce County money that Bruce County was of the opinion we had higher needs elsewhere than on that road. So there's been some hesitation in the preparation of the agreement.
Thank you, Brian. The recommendation that a bylaw be introduced to authorize the Warden and Director of Corporate Services to execute a boundary road agreement with Huron County respecting the maintenance and repair of boundary roads and bridges. Have a mover for the motion. Moved by Ann. Seconder. Robert. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Which takes us to item 2B, Gray County Boundary Road Agreement. Brian.
Our arrangement, boundary road agreement with Gray, has expired a little while, and we have both struggled with language for a new arrangement. And it's only recently that we've come up with language that we both are happy with. And that is embodied in the draft agreement that was circulated, Mr. Chairperson. It's a longer arrangement. It naturally identifies the boundary roads. I can go to the plans. Before you on the overhead is a section north of Clifford on what's called Gray Road 10. Newstead is not within the boundary. That's standalone Gray County responsibility. Then there is our boundary road in lieu of a road on a boundary between Newstead and Hanover that has been agreed to and recognized by the two counties for many, many years. North of Hanover, from Hanover through Elmwood, including Elmwood to Scone, is what's called Bruce Road 10, and it is within the responsibility of Gray County. A small section of road in Wyerton, only about 130 meters, is a responsibility of, he raised eyebrows, means I may not get further guidance. I believe it's Grey County is responsible for that small section. And the large section Bruce County is responsible for is from Scone to Highway 21, and then from Highway 21 to the south limits of Hepworth, but not the Hepworth area itself. Naturally, that's 100% within Bruce County. And finally, there's a small section on County Road 4 between Walkerton and Hanover that's about 410 meters long that Bruce County also maintains. And so the structure of the agreement is to acknowledge the maintenance of the respective sections in the jurisdiction of the two counties, and to recognize capital work would be acknowledged and the costs shared 50-50.
Okay, thank you. I'll read the recommendation that a bylaw be introduced to authorize the Warden and Director of Corporate Services to execute a boundary road agreement with Grey County respecting the maintenance and repair of boundary roads and bridges, and to undertake winter maintenance activities. We have a mover. The motion moved by Mike, seconded by Ann. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Brian 2C.
Mr. Chairman, you're aware that the county is working with Huron-Kinloss on a section of road, Campbell Street, in their Lucknow community. If you recall that we had reconstructed from Havelock to the east limits of Lucknow 2 years ago, and we had a bunch of spot improvements and resurfacing in the core of Lucknow planned, yet there was some uncertainty on how to deal with the small 300 or 400 meter section at the west limit of Lucknow. It was recognized that there's an imperfect outlet, a stormwater outlet, and between Huron-Kinloss and the county, we've engaged a consultant, BM Ross, to evaluate a bunch of options and to undertake an environmental assessment. And that environmental assessment has suggested that one solution, not necessarily preferred, is to this is the community center in Lucknow, is to relocate the outlet of this small area through here of our road, yet much, much bigger drainage area, to an outlet, piped outlet that goes along municipal property, across municipal property, into a municipal drain. And it's a very large pipe with low grade, and we were asked by Huron-Kinloss, is based on the estimate from BM Ross, how it would be treated, and to confirm the treatment, the financial treatment, in order that the economic, it could be evaluated economically within the environmental assessment to see what its ramifications would have on the preferred solution. So in doing that, we reflect on the county policy of building county roads within urban environments, and we normally share the cost of storm outlets and storm features 50-50. The uniqueness about this is its length and it's on municipal property. So I felt it advantageous to bring it before committee and make the recommendation that I think we should adhere to the policy and be prepared to pay 50% of the cost of the outlet. And that would be, the total cost was estimated at $420,000. The county 50% share would be $210,000. In the crafting of the wording of the recommendation, I was suggesting that the county is interested in this contribution to that preferred, if that were the preferred solution, yet we were not that interested in the resolution of an abandonment of the existing outlet. And we're going to leave that solely in the hands of the custodians of the arena and the municipal property. So we're interested in sharing the cost of the solution, but not necessarily the recovery of what the current outlet is right now.
Thank you, Brian. The recommendation reads that the department acknowledge that the county shall contribute to 50% of the cost to install an alternative storm drainage outlet to replace the current outlet that drains south from Campbell Street on municipal property between Montgomery Lane and Victoria Street. Moved by Ann, second by David. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? That's carried. I lost my page on the agenda, Brian. What's
Yeah.
next on the agenda?
The waste management, I think
good.
we
Yeah,
are,
It's over there somewhere.
oh. Actually, I think we fortunately have an extra copy right here. Mr.
Thanks,
Jefferson.
thanks, Sherry.
We could.
Waste management attached.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Annually, we report on our waste management responsibilities, an annual report as Kerry Meyer accumulates all the reports from the landfill sites in the county, and we provide you with a report that has been vetted by the consortium of public works managers and some consultants who have reviewed the report, and we suggest that we move forward with the report, but I'd like to make a couple of observations, if I may, Mr. Chairman. Let's go down closer to the bottom. There we are. We're very pleased, Mr. Chairman, to report that the consumption of landfill site capacity dropped again in 2015. We note that the capacity consumed was 52,000 cubic meters. We acknowledge that the 5-year average is about 56,000 cubic meters, and we are noting the impact on the remaining life of landfill site capacity at sites in Bruce County. If we use the annual rate established in 2015, apply it to the available capacity, we note that we've got in excess of 36 years of site life left. When we apply it on the 5-year average, we've got 33 years of site life left. I do note that the Northern Bruce Peninsula is embarking on capacity enhancements, and I think it's in around that 200,000 cubic meters. And if successful, that will mean the 2015 rate, the amount of years available using the 2015 rate would exceed 40 years. And we'll note that the remaining site life based on using the 5-year average will be at around 35 years. This provides committee and council the comfort that there is remaining capacity, that we're not on the pinnacle of needing to move forward with other solutions. If it's the willpower of committee and council for us to look at deeply into other strategies, we could, but it's not because we're sitting on the verge of a problem. We've got a landfill site capacity for some years to come, and it would be my opinion that we await other technology improvements and approvals that others will do, and based on their work as being first or whatnot, that we may consider different technologies when they become available and are cleaner for approval. And I think the only other thing to note was our recycling. Mr. Chairman, is we note that 10,500 tons of material were recycled from a variety of methods, one being Basra and Blue Box, another through MHSW that we speak to in a moment, and there's a variety of other proposals and techniques and provincial initiatives that we recycle a large volume of other material. So we're pleased to report a lot of material is being recycled. That was the report, Mr. Chairman.
Was there a recommendation or motion around waste management? Trying to scroll down to it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the recommendation for the waste management report is that the County of Bruce status report on waste management for 2015 be approved as presented. We have a mover for that motion. Moved by Bob, seconded by, thank you, Ann. Any discussion on the motion? It was a very interesting document, Brian. I knew they were having the meeting, and I didn't see much in the document, but an outcome of the meeting, I think a lot of the municipalities are struggling with getting rid of the used mattresses. I know that we got a shed full of them, and I know some of the neighbors got a few trailers full of them. Was that program kind of defunct in Ontario, or is there any activity going to happen that we're going to find someone else to pick them up? Or
I would have been hopeful that Kerry Meyer could respond. She could do it much better than myself. I do understand that the one provider who breaks down the mattresses had a bit of a hiccup in their operations. And I think they're, even if not them, if they're not going to recover, I think someone else may step in their place who receives the mattresses and then breaks them down and then recycles the components. So I think it was just a hiccup in a provider, I thought in Toronto, and they may recover or another provider may step up.
Thank you for that. Any other comments on the recommendation? If not, I'll call the vote. Those in favor of the recommendation? That's carried. Thank you. We're on to information items. Do you have more to say about hazardous waste program, Brian?
If I could comment very briefly, Mr. Chairman, on the chart attached to the package, we note that over the course of the last 9 years that the number of vehicles have gone up. You know, 10 years ago we'd serviced 1,600 vehicles, now we're servicing 2,600 vehicles. And the note there were some who were of the opinion that we'd get a slug of MHSW right off the bat as people cleaned up and emptied basements. Well, apparently it's ongoing. Like, it's becoming more attractive all the time. The tones collected annually have risen from about 100 tones to 135 tones, and it's on a gradual increase. So it's not as if people have stored up. It's an ongoing base that people collect and then bring, and then Kerry Meyer serves by having them the material picked up and disposed of or reused appropriately. In terms of cost, we are costing about $50 per vehicle. We note that each vehicle on average brings about 50 kilograms of material. And it's sort of surprising. So that's probably 120 pounds of material per vehicle. And our cost is relatively stable. It costs about $1,000 a ton to manage. It was just a comment, Mr. Chairman, of what's gone on, you know, the actions and the outcomes and the trends. I think it was just a for your information report, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions on the information report? Again, a very interesting report. Tender summary then is 3B, and it's attached.
We're pleased to report that we've entered an arrangement with a local provider to put illumination up at the intersection of County Road 15 and County Road 23 over in the Tiverton area.
The recommendation is that the report for the tender summary for October the 28th, 2016 to November the 17th, 2016 is for information. I have a mover for the motion. Second, moved by Bob. Second by Mike. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Next meeting, if there's nothing further, is December the 15th. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Ann, second by Mike. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.